Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Thrive, Not Just Survive. I hope you guys are having a wonderful week. Today, I wanted to talk to you about community and contribution. And as we have been tested with COVID-19 in terms of what we can do and the protocols and all of the things, what has come out of it is people rising to the occasion of helping others. And today I have a guest on that exemplifies this. This exact thing that I want to talk about is how people show up to help others. And for this young mom, she's a mom of two young little boys, and her energy, her commitment just totally inspires me. I watch her on Facebook. I watch different things that she's involved in. And I thought, this is a great way to showcase somebody who can empower us, who can inspire us, and actually, guide us through how she got into this whole journey. So I want to bring Zeeshan Mawji on so that she can walk us through the whole idea about community and contribution. So let's start this conversation. Hey, Zeeshan, welcome to the show. I'm excellent. How are you?
Good.
Excellent. Thank you so much for joining me. This was something like I've watched you. Now I have to say that I've known you since you were a baby in a little carrier. You and your mom are great. Like, she's a great friend of mine. And we used to do a lot of things together when you and my son were little. So I've seen you grow up, and now you've become this wonderful, inspiring, energetic person that I watch so closely, because I think you bring to the table a lot of the characteristics that allow us to be the best version of ourselves. So I wanted to just talk to you, and if you can guide us through your journey before we really dig in deeper as to what you're doing. So tell us who you are and how this all started.
So basically, I went through a really hard time in December, and I reached out to a really close family friend of ours. Her name's Sajida Habib. And we got together and we started working. She was helping me with the COVID-19 stuff. So we were trying to do projects together, and, she was arranging funds for those who were struggling. And COVID-19 group was concentrating on doing groceries for the seniors and those who were struggling. And we felt like we wanted to do more. So we branched off and we started Muslim Women of York Region. And our very first project was helping a single father. So he had a very young infant child with him, and we tried to, get him whatever essentials he needed and stuff. And we were like, you know what, this feels right. Like, something about this just felt heartwarming. And then we did our next project, was just feeding the frontliners, basically saying thank you for, going to the hospital and sacrificing their time with their family to take care of us and make sure we're safe. And that's how it started rolling. So we started getting into projects like, giving the 360 kids groceries and like snacks and stuff so that they have access to those things. We did the frontliners at-risk youth drop-off. So we did some drop-offs with them. We're working hand in hand with the Weston Area Food Bank. So, we like send them groceries and sanitizers, masks, anything that they can use. We work with a lot of women's shelters, providing them their needs, and soup kitchens. So we basically are a group of 3 people. So it's me, Sajida Habib, and Naila Dewji. And we just try to find ways of helping those that are like struggling, and people who are struggling really badly, right? Like, God bless us. Like, we live in a country where we have enough benefits coming in from the government and stuff. But for some, they're not as accessible to that kind of funds just yet. And, they're waiting for their paperwork to go through and stuff. So COVID-19 has hit hard, and it's hit hard in those areas. So we figured.
This is where you came together with just a few women. Like, it wasn't such a big, production of people and things, but you pulled in resources and you figured out a way of how you can help others. So I put up the Instagram account that you shared with me about if anybody wanted to, support. Can they message you on Instagram?
Yeah, they can send us a DM, or they can even message us directly, whichever means of communication is easier. We are a voluntary-based organization right now, so unfortunately, we don't give out tax receipts for donations.
Right.
But, our work can be seen on our pages. We like advertise whatever work we are doing so that our donors know the funds are being used appropriately.
Right.
But yeah, we're just trying to do the best that we can. We help other projects and stuff, we kept our name as Muslim women because unfortunately in today's generation, Muslims are not seen as, very positive and giving back people. So we wanted to change that perspective. And since we are a group of women, that's how the name came together. But we help anyone and everyone in the GTA. You're not restricted to like any means. You know what I mean? Like if you're struggling and you need the help, drop us a message. If you know anyone who can use the help, we're more than open to everyone, right?
Yeah. And this is the whole thing about community, right? It's not religion based. It's just helping anybody that needs it. And I think you're right. The Muslim name perhaps has been in the media not getting the greatest, name for ourselves. But I think the idea is that really COVID-19, what happened is I think it brought people together and it took away these titles, these divisions that we had based on religion and color and creed, and all of these things really went away because COVID-19, the virus itself, is not discriminatory. It's not picking out certain people in certain religions and certain groups. It's really something that we've all been exposed to realize that we are all one. We are one human race, and there shouldn't be a division. So I think that's brilliant that you guys have come up with this, as small as group as it is, but you're trying to reach out to as many as you can.
Yeah.
And so I have to commend you on this. And really, I hope that people will at least join in, perhaps go to the Instagram account and give you some love. If nothing else, just at least show support.
For sure. Any type of love goes a long way, right?
Like, it goes a long way. And sharing it out, I think, because you don't know who needs help. Perhaps maybe in your circle, you don't know anybody in your immediate family or a community, but you never know when you share a post or something, it touches somebody. Yeah. So I really want to, I will be exposing this on my page as well, just that this group exists. And COVID-19 is part of our life now. Like, it's not something that's going away in the near future. So people are going to be needing help consistently and constantly as people's lives change based on whatever it is that they're dealing with. So thank you for that. Now, can we kind of go and explore a little bit more in terms of what, I know you are busy. So as a mother of two, like you're doing a lot of things. So tell me what other things you do and that you are doing that people can kind of get to know you, who you are, what you do, and how you serve the things that you like doing, your passions and things like that.
So I currently run a photography company, and that's because I can at least pick my hours with the kids around. It's easier for me to be more flexible. But I graduated as a paralegal, so I do have that under my sleeve. But right now I'm mostly just doing photography work, and my mom does catering, so I kind of help her out with her stuff that goes on. But yeah, so I got into photography 10 years ago as a hobby, bought a camera, and I said I can take pictures. And then decided to further my education. So I went in and I did like Photoshop and digital art, got some more credentials under my sleeve. And yeah, I've been doing it for 10 years now. Slowly hoping to make it a bit more full-time. It's part-time right now with seasonal, but with COVID, that has taken an impact.
Yeah.
So I decided to use my time to go towards charity because it felt like there's a different kind of happiness when you're giving back and a different type of contentment. And it also makes you realize that there are people out there struggling and have it worse than you. So it kind of builds a gratitude that you didn't really know that existed.
Yes.
So I went off to branch off on that area recently, but I've always wanted to do NGO work and like kind of have my own organization. So this is a great way to put my foot into that to see what is required and things.
Absolutely.
But yeah, that's what I'm up to for now. It's really quiet because, everyone's life has taken a toll and everything's different, especially for work that requires social and, immediate physical contact.
Yeah, it's so true, right? People's lives changed overnight in terms of whatever businesses they were doing, whatever work they were doing. It either looked different or it stopped completely. And so the idea, and I really like what you said, is you've changed your focus, even though that took a hit. You decided to use the energy to focus on something that you were passionate about, which is helping others. And I didn't touch on it before, but we talked about it prior to getting on the show, was the amount of work that you do that's charitable feeds you, your soul, more than the work that you're doing for others. So there's such a benefit, a high benefit that you get from doing work for others, right? And how do you feel that's impacted you in terms of your mindset, in terms of your energy levels, and how you see your day-to-day activities?
So those who know me that I was really pessimistic at one point. I was never in a positive energy. I was always like, why me? Why this? Like, and as things started to take a turn in my life and I started, finding myself basically and trying to open up and be like, okay, let's not run after the money and stuff. Like, let's figure out what makes me internally happy. It was giving back. So either finding someone to help or physically being able to help that person, it made me feel good, and it made me be like, this is the kind of role model I want to be to my boys. I want my boys to know that it's important to give back, and it doesn't matter how much you have, but always take out something from what you have and share it, And it connected me back with my personal religion, because Islam teaches you, like, whatever you have, a little bit is for somebody else. It's not all yours.
Right.
And I don't know, like, it's just when you give back, I became calmer, I think. Like, it calmed my senses. It brought me back. It grounded me, basically.
Yeah. It's a very humbling thing to be doing, right? Like, when you are actually serving others, you like you said earlier, right? You look at other people's lives and they have it worse. Yeah. It really makes you feel gratitude towards what you have been blessed with, and I think that is the key, right? When you're doing all of this, is to reflect it back and say, there's people who have it worse, and if I can help them, it gives you that gratitude, right, towards your own life. And the other thing you pointed out, which I really want to highlight, is being an example for your children. Kids learn by what they see, right? Like, a lot of it, yes, you teach them all the different things, school and but in terms of behavior, they're watching us, and they basically are going to mimic these types of behaviors as they grow up, and it becomes part of who they are.
Right.
And so the fact that you're showing them the idea of giving to others, I think you're allowing them to see that it's not just about what you can get. Yeah. It's really more about what you can give.
And it's important, because I think, we're always taught and said, like, do charity, give back. But when you physically go through that entire process, like, my oldest is 4. So I get him involved. When we're doing a clean out, I get him involved. I take him to Goodwill. We do the drop off, and I make him part with some of his toys. And I tell him that, they're going to a better home because you're not playing with them anymore. And in the beginning, it was tantrums because you're parting them away. But now it's become, he does it voluntarily. Like, he'll notice, Mommy, I haven't played with this. Maybe we should give it to somebody else. And I'm like, you know what? It makes me feel like I'm doing something right. If not anything, there's something out of the 100 things going on in life. I'm doing something right.
Right.
And, I want them to know that just because life is good right now, it doesn't mean life is always good. So I want them to have that contentment, and I feel like the earlier you expose them to, like, just to say there are kids that, you're luckier than them right now, but don't take that for granted. I feel like it grounds them too, and they appreciate what they have. And going through this whole process, I've not become as much as a spender as I used to be.
Yeah.
So at one time it was like, oh, I want this, I'm gonna go get it, whatever. Like, I didn't appreciate the stuff I did have.
Yeah.
And then slowly growing up, and then, I moved to Africa for 2 years, where I actually saw a lot of poverty on the streets right in front of your eyes. And that grounded me to be like, there were kids playing with water bottles as a soccer ball.
Wow.
And wearing, tires as shoes. Like, it's a very different life when you're actually out there and you're living that life, not going there for a vacation, but you actually live there. It's a different perspective what you see. And that's when I started realizing the smallest, like, when you'd give them a gift, it was like, oh my God, I got something so big. Or I remember I came to visit and I went to Niagara Falls and I picked up all these I'm Canadian t-shirts and whatever, and we just handed them out. And these kids were like, oh my God, Canada, like, it's such a big deal. And I was like, oh, it's not that big of a deal, but you don't realize what you have.
Yes.
So that made me be like, okay, you know what? You need to kind of appreciate the life you're living, because it's very, like, you're compared to them, we're very luxurious,
Yes. Yes.
So
it's
that's
a study in contrast when you really think about it, right? It's a real study in contrast. And I've been to India a few times, though I've never lived there. I've been there for a few weeks at a time and saw poverty on the street. But what really amazed me, and I don't know if you saw this, but when you saw a child playing with that water bottle or just in a little puddle, the smile on their face,
the happiness,
right? And they were happy.
It's genuine happiness, like they're I don't know, like, I've never felt that kind of happiness. If I have to be like dead honest, I don't think I've ever been that happy to play with something.
Yeah.
You know, and it's just the excitement. And for them, it's not a water bottle. For them, it's a soccer ball that they're playing with. Like, that's how they see it.
Yeah.
So perspective is a really big deal. And I think the more you look into things and you try to understand, and you know, you calm down to understand other people's journeys, it also makes you realize why they are the way they are, which is, you know, it's hard to accept. Like, I had a very hard time accepting that people's journeys affect them. And it was easy to be like, you know, this person thinks of themselves so much or whatever, but you don't realize until you see different avenues, and it opens up your mindset to be like, okay, you know what? They probably had it rough, and now they've gotten it. So maybe this is why I feel this is the way they are.
Yes.
But yeah, it's just all about perspective and stuff.
And I think that's another really key point is when you look at other people, you know, sometimes we're quick to judge, right? And this whole judgment thing comes up. Whereas if you really stop and watch or listen, you can really look at that perspective and kind of understand where they're coming from. And rather than judging them, to allow them to be on their journey, because we all have our journeys. We all have our learnings that we need to go through to do whatever we need to do, whatever reason we're here. There's a purpose for every life that's on this planet. And we're you know, all figuring this out in our own time. But when we stop judging others, we actually grow ourselves, and we allow them to have their space, right? So I think that's another really key point, is when you do experience life, especially in another country, a third world country, is you get to see things from a different perspective, and it changes who you are. Because when you come back, or if you even visit, you look at even your life in a first world country differently. Definitely. So I think that is something that, you know, we don't really you know, I don't know if we don't give it enough credit, right? Like, yes, we live in a beautiful country and we have a lot of privileges that most people are envious of, right? Like when you say, I gave a Canada t-shirt, and they say, oh my God, you're from Canada? Like, they think that's the land of opportunity, which they can only dream about, or maybe not move in, right? So I think it's really amazing that we can look at it now and say, it is a blessing. Like, we are so blessed.
Definitely, especially with COVID-19. Like, there are many countries that are financially suffering, and I know, like, we're all struggling, but at least the little help that the government is giving us, compared to other countries, it's, you know, we're secured.
Yes.
And I never understood that. My mom always was like, you know, Canada is a security. It's a security. It's good for you. It's a security. And I was just like, it's just another country. But today, in a time of a need and a pandemic, I realized that, you know what? Yes, I am secured. Like, I am okay. I am safe. I still have access to a healthy lifestyle compared to being somewhere else and not having access to that, or needing a financial cushion to have access to good healthcare.
Yes.
Right.
And that's another big one, healthcare. As much as right now with COVID-19, you don't want to go into a hospital, but if you needed healthcare, it's accessible. You have healthcare, right? So I think that's, you know, these things are so important to point out. When we're going through certain things, they really get highlighted, right? So I just feel like, you know, the way you look at life and your perspective, and of course I've seen you grow up, so I've seen different angles of you, right, in terms of your young years, and then now as being a mom. What do you think is sort of your message? Like, if you were to give some advice to somebody who's watching, or somebody who watches this on replay, what would you say to them in a moment of crisis, which is the pandemic of COVID-19?
I would honestly just come out and say that don't think of yourself to be so little. Unfortunately, we do that. We feel like, oh, I'm not well-to-do. How can I help? How can I give back? Don't underestimate yourself, right? Like, if there's something you want to do, start. Connect with someone who's out there, who's already doing it. Do your research, reach out. Because when you reach out, you get a lot of answers. But if you don't reach out, nobody knows what you're looking for. So you need to take that first step. So I would come out and say, like, don't stop yourself.
That's brilliant. I think that's really good advice, whether it's charitable work or it's your own, whatever you want to do in terms of work, business, you want to start something. I think the biggest thing is to take that first step. You know, and the universe aligns itself with other things that will come, that will fulfill whatever it is that you're trying to do. But you just have to be open to it. So thank you so much. You know what? I was so looking forward to this interview because you inspire me. I watch you and the things you do, and you're always out there trying to do something for others. And and your whole family, actually. You know, I think they live that life, and they have had that kind of impact in the community. So I want to thank you for your time. I want to thank you for the work that you guys are doing. And if there's anything I can do from my end in terms of promotion or whatever it is, please let me know. I just wanted to thank you and really give you all like the most highest level of love that I can give you across the screen. So thank you. Lots of love to you and your family.
Thank you.
So that was Zeeshan Mawji. I just wanted to share her light with you. I mean, like I said, I've watched her for years, and watching her grow up and become this amazing human being who is doing things for her children, for her community, and really people at large, just whoever that she can touch and help. So I think that this interview, if anything, I hope it inspired you. I hope it gave you something to think about. I wish you a wonderful Wednesday. Tomorrow I have Sharon Fillmore on, and we're going to be talking about fear. So join in tomorrow at 10 a.m. I will be on with her. We'll have some strategies and a meditation. And on Friday, we have Dr. Cheryl on again. So wishing you a great day. Be kind to yourself and to others. I'll see you tomorrow morning at 10 a.m.